So anyway, they give you this equation, and then they ask you, is x equal pi over 4 a solution to this equation? And the answer is no, I believe. But we can figure that out. If we put pi over 4 in here and in here, it's tough because it's cosecant, and that's why they ask this question. They want you to do some work ahead of time. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to factor, since I'm already equal to 0 over here, I can create independent factors, and I can do the following. Cosecant squared x, and factor out a cosecant squared x from both of these guys. And I'm going to have cosecant squared x minus 1 is equal to 0. So now I can solve it as if I wasn't asked this question. So cosecant squared x is equal to 0, and independently of that, cosecant squared x minus 1 is equal to 0. Add 1 to both sides, and I get this guy, right? And so now I'm going to think about this as not cosecant, but sine. And actually, I'm going to take the square root of both sides first. I guess you could take you don't have to take the square root, but I'm going to. So the cosecant squared, I'm going to take the square root of both sides. Of course, the square root of 0 is 0. And then I'm going to convert this to sine, which means I'm going to think of this as its reciprocal, so it's 1 over 0. So I'm asking, sine x is equal to undefined. Is there an angle for which I take the sine of it, and it ends up being undefined? Nope, there is not, so no solution from that part. This part, I'm going to take the square root of both sides. I'm going to get cosecant, I'm going to get cosecant x is equal to plus or minus the square root of 1. And so that's cosecant of x is equal to plus or minus 1. So I have two values to think about. And so so I'm going to take the inverse, tangent. And so I'm going to take the inverse, which is sine x equals minus plus of 1, which is the same as plus or minus 1. And so I'm going to figure out when is sine 1 and when is sine negative 1. Well, sine of 1 is up here, so it's pi over 2. And the sine of negative 1 is negative pi over 2. Or, if you prefer, 3 pi over 2. Go in the other direction, right? These two are the same. So it can be either of those two. So what that's telling me is that this is definitely not one of our solutions. Okay? And so that's that guy.